Welcome to the Leading Results Fitness Podcast, interviewing some of the best athletes in the world, discussing the training, diet and supplement principles of top coaches, educating you on all the things fitness and business. Sponsored by the UK's cheapest supplement supplier, My Gym Supps. Find all the top brands and lowest prices at www.mygymsupps.com. Also sponsored by the only female subscription site, Pro Female Fitness, where you can find some of the UK's best athletes discussing their diets and training with an interactive forum where you can ask any question and the athletes will get back to you. They have a library of over 300 videos to watch and learn. Now let's hand over to your host, Rob Whitfield, with this week's episode.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us again today for another Team LRF podcast. So we've got Bojana here and her boyfriend, Chris. I'll quickly explain the situation here. So Bojana is a four-time Olympian, recent Arnold Classic runner-up as well, and her boyfriend Chris is one of the promoters of the shows in the US. Promotes a couple of pro shows. One of the most recent ones, which happened in around about October or November, wasn't it? The Legions show. Massive pro show, that one, wasn't it? Absolutely enormous. And obviously Bojana coming off the runner-up place at the Arnolds. So just give us a quick background on yourselves, and if people are not aware of who you are, just fill them in.
Go ahead and
start. Okay. I'm pro figure Bojana Vasiljevic. Originally, I'm from Serbia, but I'm living in US from 2011. Actually, I moved from my country to US exactly because I got my pro card and I wanted just to achieve my goals in pro figure division. And the only way was really to move from Europe to US and be here because all competitions are mostly here. Now I see more and more competitions in Europe, and that makes me happy. I did Romania Pro 2 years ago. I see that is now more even like previous year, and it's more planned for this year, but unfortunately the situation now is ruining all our plans. But yeah, I'm here in US from 2011. I officially start my pro career in 2013. Actually, I made pro debut at the Governor's Cup Spectrum Fitness Production show in 2013. It was a pretty good pro debut for me. I got first call out in front of Sandy Williamson. She's Olympia judge. I ended up sixth that time. And so far I competed 46 times from 2013 until today. I did 4 Olympias, 7 Arnolds, if I'm right. I think, 7 Arnolds. Runner-up at the last Arnold Ohio and runner-up last year at the Arnold Australia. Hopefully I will be on the Olympia stage this fall if everything goes as planned. I hope that competitions are going to go on from June at least. I'm hoping, and pretty much that's it. That's it about me, what else to say? I'm thinking, did I miss something?
There's a lot more you can talk about with Bojana because she's come from such she comes from Serbia. She grew up in a lot of adversity, and to see how far she's come from this little village in Serbia to the Olympia stage is actually absolutely incredible to me. And it's not a story she tells much, so I have to tell it for her. Because I've seen the little one-room apartment she grew up in a Soviet-style apartment building, and seeing these people can't even visit the United States, and to be able to come here and figure out how to move here and become a permanent green card holder and get to the Olympia. You said 4 times, right? 4 times. Sorry, I have so many I can't even remember. It's pretty incredible. My role in all this is I'm an IFBB NPC promoter. I started promoting in 2011 with the Tahoe show. It was a little show on the top of a mountain above by a lake, and people really liked what we were doing. As I was a bodybuilder myself, and just felt like the shows could honor the athlete a lot better. They could be doing more for the athletes. And with my background in marketing and such, it was a fun little hobby that I started that turned into a full-time career. Now it's 8 shows. We're in, I think, 4 or 5 different U.S. states. We're also in Moscow with a pro qualifier. We have the biggest pro show in California, and this year we're adding the biggest Masters pro show in the world.
Awesome.
And I pretty much coach her.
Yeah. Awesome. So, first of all, what got you both into bodybuilding? So, obviously, your stories will be very different. So, obviously, Bojana, where did you start your bodybuilding or training career?
Well, in general, I started with sports when I was little girl. I was 3-year-old when I started with gymnastics because my father was a gymnast and he enrolled me at his gymnastic club there when he used to train. And I started when I was 3, and I was a gymnast until like 12, I think. And because the war started in Yugoslavia, that time Yugoslavia, I had to stop. But soon after that, I just switched from gymnastics to track and field. I was a runner on short distance, and I competed very successfully there in my country at the national level. And after all, like I accidentally actually end up in fitness and bodybuilding sport. I never think that I'm going to be part of this sport, and I wasn't interested really. I was a student at the University for Sport and Physical Education, and my professors saw me during some swimming lessons, and they saw me in the swimsuit. And they was looking like, oh my God, you can compete in fitness, like, and you used to be gymnast, you can do routine, like, why don't try? And I was totally confused. I just asked, like, how that looks like. What is that? I have no idea. So they explained me how competitions look like and what I have to do on stage. And I kind of was like, okay, let's try. I prepped for my first show for 3 months. And I did my, that was a national championship in Serbia that September in 2006. And I got 3rd place. And that, I think, like, I just fall in love immediately with the sport. I competed right after that championship one time more in December that year, and I won that show. And next year was complete success. I was national champion, and I did European championship, Miss Universe in Italy, a bunch of international competitions. I was first at European and Miss Universe in Italy, I think, that year. And the rest is just like history. I keep competing and competing because I love to compete. And I didn't listen coaches who say like, hey, you need to have off season. You cannot compete nonstop. I just competed nonstop. I did 70 amateur shows, 70.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't know that I can turn pro at all because I thought I'm Serbian citizen. I'm not US citizen. I cannot get my pro card. And I even didn't think about that. I even didn't know much about pro card. I accidentally actually competed at the Arnold Amateur in 2010 because my father saw that Arnold promotes some contests and it's a big sports festival. And he gave me an idea like, why you don't compete there? And I was kind of thinking like, how I'm going to compete there? Like, I don't know if I can have a right to compete there at all. So he called, I think, and asked for info. And they explained him that I need to get invitation for that if I am national champion or at least like a top national level competitor. I got my invitation. I competed and I earned my pro card basically there. It was really interesting. Like I didn't have any expectations, and I competed in figure actually. First time I competed in figure that year because judges suggested me to try figure as well because they told me your routine is good, but sometimes it's not the best one because we have a lot of good gymnasts in Europe. And they say, but your physique is always the best one in the line. So why you don't try figure? Because it's just a physique round, actually. So it's a more chance that you're going to end up first.
Yeah.
And I listened to their advice and I try figure like a couple times before that Arnold. I won all those shows that I actually competed in figure. And I prepare my routine for the Arnold as well in case if I change my mind. I have both ready, like figure, suit, and everything for figure and for fitness. And then I decided to do figure. And it was a good decision, actually. After that, Arnold, I think I stayed for a month more in US for NPC Steve Stone Metropolitan competition. It was on the same day as a New York Pro. Steve Enberger is promoter of that show. So I went to his gym a couple days before the show to ask if I can compete at his show because I'm not US citizen. And he asked me about my competition history. I told him everything and he just looked at me like, you know that you already can have your pro cards. You know that? And I was just looking like, no, how? He said, like, well, yeah, because of your Arnold amateur. So your national federation just need to send request to Jim Enion, and he gonna approve it. And I was like, oh, okay. So, but I still wanted to compete in his show. So I competed in his show. I won my class. I go back to my country. I did, I think, Balkanian Championship, European Championship, World Cup, and World Championship that year. And after that, I got my pro cards. I finally decided to just accept that opportunity for pro status, and I got my pro card, and I moved to US.
Was there so the way that things used to run over here in the UK was getting a pro card was very, very difficult, especially in the figure division. Obviously now the sort of tide has changed with the Two Bros promotion company. But was it very similar there? Like it was very difficult to earn a pro card, or were they quite willing to give you a pro card?
Yeah, it was difficult. I had to be a national champion and highly placed at the World Championship or European Championship, like first or second place, or Arnold Amateur. So I did all that year. I was second in the World Cup, second in the World Championship, and plus my Arnold, and everything comes together, and they said yes. Yeah. My national federation submit requests, they review everything, and then...
It was so convoluted with the old IFBB and Santoja. There was no rules. It was, you know, like you guys probably have the same thing there. Here with the NPC and IFBB Pro League, we have a very defined path to turning pro now. And back then, it was like you said, you have to submit a letter and maybe get an approval, maybe not get an approval. And if we liked you enough, you know, it was almost as subjective as judging.
Sure. Well, I had a young lady actually do your show. She placed 10th, called Barbara Kiss. She that was her first year in the Pro League, but she actually won the British in 2016. So she was national champion in 2016, but they wouldn't give her a pro card. She had to then wait for the divide, win the British again, and then apply for a pro card. Like it wasn't a fluid system.
Yeah, yeah. So she actually ended up applying for it. She didn't win one of Ian and Bob's shows.
No, she did. Yeah. So what happened was she was national champion in 2016, but because the system wasn't what it was now, then the system broke, and then she said, right, actually, I need to win another show, i.e. Two Bros. So then she won the Two Bros and was awarded the pro card at Two Bros.
So she
and then took a time off and done Romania, and then come over to California and done the California show as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Nice. Well, it's nice for athletes now to have a real path.
Yes.
You know, actually know where they're going and not just feel frustrated. And we deal with that in Russia. You know, all this confusion. You know, and now it's almost difficult to express it because it's so simple now. They're like, wait, that's all I have to do. I don't have to get this guy to sign and that letter. And that. No, you just come win the show. Here's your card. You know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, Chris, tell us your journey, which took you from bodybuilding to promoter, now to obviously serious promoter. So obviously there was a chain of effect there.
I guess, you know, I got into bodybuilding in the first place just because, you know, I have a degree in business and we're studying business. And one of the things they said was that it was leadership in business class. Like guys who were a little bit bigger or had a little sense of intimidation tend to lead a group better without having to really do much. People just had this natural level of intimidation. And back then I think I was 168 pounds and definitely wasn't an intimidating person by any means. By personality, I was especially like very nice and friendly. And so I was the opposite of intimidating. So I thought, okay, let's put on 10 pounds and maybe that'll help command a situation a little bit more in business. And turned out I had good genetics, and I put on the 10 pounds really quickly. And back then, I mean, I'll be honest, I was 100% natural, and I never touched anything until I got it from a doctor after I turned 30. So that first year, I put on the 10 pounds and I loved it. And I put on, I think, 30 pounds in the first year, another 30 pounds in the second year. And then it starts to level off. But I did get up to about 240-ish natural. Now I wasn't ripped. So, but I was definitely, what I found was I was very, very strong. I remember the first time I deadlifted, I was pulling like mid 400s the first day I did it. And I was like, this ain't right. I'm going to stop right there because this doesn't make logical sense. I'm going to hurt myself. And I ended up competing as a powerlifter for quite a while, and I won every time I ever competed. And I guess I could have gone on try to become pro, but I was getting bored with it, so I wanted to try bodybuilding. And then I think literally 12 weeks after my powerlifting meet, I did a bodybuilding show. And my first show, I got second, and I tend to get a lot of seconds in bodybuilding. But I did fall in love with the sport from there. But what I found was that these shows, this was 2009, were really poorly produced. And my background was in business. I was a director of events for a ski resort. So we put on big events sponsored by Budweiser and Pepsi, and we had hundreds of thousands of dollars in sponsorship money. But I knew what we could be doing. And I saw the kind of money that was coming in the bodybuilding world and thought, man, you put more of this back into the show and you can have an incredible event. And for me as a bodybuilder, I went to some of these events. I felt insulted by how poor the production was. I worked 12 weeks. I spent thousands of dollars, time, took off work, and I come up and it's this pop-up stage in like a business in the basement of an American Legion, So and I started talking to some people, and we ended up getting a sanction in 2011 up in Tahoe, like I mentioned earlier. I had a hookup at a casino where up in Lake Tahoe, so it was a beautiful showroom that people like Frank Sinatra had played in. It's just a gorgeous spot, and I did it, and people who were there loved it. The other promoters didn't love it at all because we just stepped it up. But then the next year in 2012, it doubled in size. In 2013, it doubled in size again. You competed. Well, I didn't even know her, but she competed in the show. And then a year later, I would meet her in 2014. And 2014 is when we did the first Ferrigno Legacy, which grew and grew and grew. And then the Ferrignos want to go a different direction, and we grew that into the Legion, into Long Beach, which was the event your girl competed in. And like I said, and that's led us to today where we have 8 shows, around the world, and we want to develop Russia for the IFBB Pro League NPC. That's a great market that they really need some love over there, and we're going to give it to them, and then continue what we're doing here. And we also have some other projects that's in the works.
Awesome. So you touched upon you met in 2014. Did you meet through bodybuilding, competing? How did you meet?
Yeah, so I was at Gold's Gym and in Venice, and her coach sees me, and that like a kiss ass culture that's in bodybuilding. I don't play it, but people play this kiss ass culture, and he's kind of like, oh, we got to go talk to him. He's the promoter of the show you're gonna do. And
I remember I was doing cardio, and he asked me, "Do you know who is that guy there?" And I said, like, "No, I have no idea." He said, like, "How you don't know? You competed at his show last year." And I was like, I don't know, and then he explained it's a Tahoe show promoter. But I remember that show was amazing show talking about the production, but I play so bad. And it's such a bad memory in my head that I was kind of like, I don't care about Tahoe show. And he said like, well, you're going to compete this year again, right? And I'm kind of like, I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, I didn't place well there. I don't know if I want to go back there. He said, like, no, just relax. You should go and say hi, introduce yourself. Because he thought that I'm very asocial person. I just moved from my country. I didn't want to speak because my English was really bad. And I was just, I was asocial. And he tried to correct that. I don't blame him for that. Like, it's a good thing to be social and normal, but I couldn't just step out of my mindset that time. And he pushed me to go and say hi, introduce myself. I didn't want. At one point, when I finished my cardio, I didn't see Chris anymore there. And I was thinking like, oh, thank God he's not there. I don't have to go to say hi. And then we was exiting the gym. He was somewhere there at close to the exit.
Doing some
back. I was like, oh no, here he is. Then my coach started talking with him, and I was standing on the side feeling so awkward, like, oh, what he's talking with him right now? Like, I don't want to talk with the person that I don't know. Like, I'm feeling awkward. So he just pushed me to say hi, and this is how we start conversation. And then I relaxed a little bit because he was nice and approachable.
And you could tell she liked me. There was this picture of us with me, her in the middle and her coach, and she's all like up on me.
It's true. I was standing on that picture so close to him, and I didn't know him at that time. Like, that was our first contact ever. So it's just the body language, I think, energy. And we stay in contact for a long time.
I slipped into her DMs.
It was that 10 pound of muscle that you put on, Chris.
It was that 10 pounds.
Yeah, but we just like really go out together couple months after that. It didn't happen fast.
Yep.
No.
Slipped into her DMs. We talked for a few months. Then I made my next trip down there, and I brought her out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I was in my peak week.
Oh, she was in her peak week.
I was that time in my peak week when we went out. And then my coach was so pissed off. He was kind of like, I knew that you're not going to come back home all night. Like, you're going to ruin everything. And it was true. I didn't place well at all. From the third place at Chicago Pro, that is huge show, I just dropped to 16 and Tampa Pro just because I went out that week.
She had sashimi. I mean, when I took her out to sushi, she wasn't
You
very
could have brought your Tupperware with you.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So let's fast forward a little bit now. So obviously you're in the States now, and you go to your first Olympia. Chris, I could imagine you've been to an Olympia before Bojana got the invite. Yep. So was that your first Olympia, the first one that you got invited to, Bojana, or had you been to an Olympia before?
I've been at the Olympia before because I already was sponsored by Ironman Labs at that time, so I worked booth for them. So I did 2 Olympias before, just working at the expo and doing some random photo shoots around. But as a competitor, that was 2016, first time.
Yeah. So do you think it's a good thing that you've been there, or maybe would you have liked to have not been there before? Because obviously by going there, you see how busy it is and you see what an incredible event it is. And now you're going to compete there. Talk about those feelings.
Well, I think like I remember I still have those photos in my computer. When I went there first time, I made a photo exactly next to the Olympia stage, like pointing with my finger, like I want that. I want to be there. So I think being there is just fire up me more and just push me in that direction that I really want to achieve that goal to be there. And finally happened in that 2016. I was chasing that qualification. I went on points first year, and I competed from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. Last show was San Antonio Pro, and I knew like if I place in top 5 or top 4th place was enough to go to the Olympia, actually 4th and up. If I place 5th, I think that wouldn't be enough. And I exactly placed 4th. 4th place, and I was the last on the list with points and jump in that show like as a last one who qualify, actually. And that feeling was amazing. Like, I couldn't believe.
She was chasing points hard.
Yeah, that year I did 8 shows. I placed in every of those 8 shows and earned points. And this is how I got there.
Sure.
Actually, I got a little issue before that San Antonio. I was looking the list, and I saw that I dropped on the list and somebody passed me. And I was looking and I said, like, this is not possible. This person didn't compete that much. And I exactly know how she plays. And I say, like, something is wrong with these points. I told Chris that, and he told me that I'm obsessed and that I'm crazy. And I was like, no. And I was counting points for each competitor, going through all contests, and I found a mistake. And I emailed to the pro office and said that I think that I found mistake in a point system, that I am on the, let's say, 4th place and I should be on the 2nd place, and the person who is on the 2nd should be on the 5th because she didn't earn those points. And I listed everything, and they respond like, I think in a half hour, they say like, you're correct. We made mistake. And we now have to go through all points to see, did we make maybe mistake with other competitors, because this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't that much obsessed, I probably wouldn't find the mistake, and I wouldn't make the Olympia. It would be late after.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. The point system, I think, is a great system, though. I think it really works well, and it really keeps people driving through the season to get them goals, because we all know that sometimes you can turn up to a show and there might only be like 5 people. Like it was one of the European shows a couple of years ago, there was 5 people. I think Puerto Rico last year there wasn't that many people. So so it's great that the point system's there for those people who do compete in those big shows, who then get a chance then to go on to the Olympia. I think it's great. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think it's great. So this year, 11th at the Olympia, but second at the Arnold's. I thought there was a noticeable improvement in your look. I thought you were harder. I thought you were a little bit bigger. What changed? Because it's only 6 months, it's only 6 months. What changed? Did you do anything different? Did you train any different? Did you diet any different?
Yeah, we changed a couple things, and I took a little bit more rest after the Olympia. After the Olympia, I competed one time more. That was San Diego show, Muscle Contest Border States Pro. I placed second, earned 4 points over the new Olympia, and then I took off basically from that October to January 1st. We was traveling a lot. We had a Russia show, then we visited Serbia and my family there. So I basically didn't train from that October until January.
Thanks for joining us, and make sure you subscribe. Until next time, check out all the athletes' updates on Pro Female Fitness, and for all your supplement needs, head over to www.mygymsups.com.